We'll move to the next question, which comes from Ali Bashir Hussain Sahib. Unfortunately, Ali Sam, you haven't told us where you're writing in from, but we are going to ask your question nevertheless. It's a short question. Dr. Saab, perhaps I could come to you with this. Are Muslims supposed to be buried in a coffin?
As far as Islamic rites of burial are concerned, all we know is that the rites are that the body should be washed in the ritual way, and it should be wrapped in a shroud, which consists of sheets of linen or some other cotton material, normally white, but it can be other colors as well. And this actually shows uniformity and also shows equality, in that a king will be wrapped up in the same sort of shroud as any other person. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it has to be that in order for the transportation of a body, that a coffin, a funeral box, is sometimes used. But as far as the burial is concerned in Islam, that is a simple ceremony as well, is that the shrouded body can be lowered into the grave without a funeral box in that instance. However, there may be a situation when a body is buried in trust and is going to be moved at a later date. And in that instance, of course, then you have to be buried in a coffin, in a fortified coffin in that respect. So that is something that is also permissible in Islam. There are also, for our viewers, there are two types of graves that Islam we normally see. One is a simple shaft that is that is rectangular, and the body is placed in that, and then it is covered up by the soil. Or there is an L-shaped funeral grave as well, in which there is a shaft, and at the bottom of that is a side room which is carved out, in which the body can be placed.
Like a platform.
Like a platform, and then that is covered over, and the shaft is then filled in. So these are the requirements of Islam, is simplicity. And therefore it is possible to be buried just in the shroud itself. But in some countries it is a requirement of the country. In America, I know that you have to have a vault and then an inner coffin box as well for a burial to take place. But whenever that is required, one should always be simple again, in that there are many elaborate types of coffins, boxes which are created. Both the linings and the outer material is so elaborate, and that goes against the philosophy and the spirit of Islam. In Ghana as well, I mean, I know that people have carved out cars and aeroplanes as coffin boxes that they wish to be buried in, and again that obviously goes against the spirit of simplicity in Islam. So you do not have to be buried in a coffin box, but it is certainly permissible still to be buried in a coffin box if you need to do so.
Jazakumullah, Dr. Saab, for your answer, and thank you, Ali Sahib, for your question as well.